So this is the second half of our recording on Blog TV, and thanks you guys, thanks to the guests down there for being fairly decent today and not making us kick you guys out. Appreciate you being here. And folks, what we're talking about, this is the answer. Jesus told you, you can do what I do and more.
That's right.
Now, folks, what that means and what he's telling you is the vibrational level that MeSah is talking about can be generated, has been generated by individuals like Clay Douglas, like Bill Clinton, although he used it for evil. He used it for bad. He became one of these people, but there are people that have reached this level. Gandhi, you know, Thomas Jefferson, other people that Benjamin Franklin, who was a publisher too. They've been imparting this knowledge to you as best they can, because they didn't even have all of it. We're giving you all of it today.
Well, you know, that's true, and it's an evolving. Consciousness is always evolving. So as we go into this new age and the whole universe goes into a new level of vibration, that's just that same evolvement. And the consciousness on the planet hopefully will go up. You know, we're in this crisis mode right now where are we going to go up? Are we going to get into that next stage? Or are we going to blow ourselves up? Because we're not willing to take that leap in consciousness. The leap in consciousness always means we have to lose attachment to the old and welcome the new. And we have to do that at the level of our thinking, and at the level of our feeling, and at the level of our actions. And humans get very, very attached to their way of thinking, and they don't want to let go. And Buddha actually talked about non-attachment. You know, he was enlightened, and he said, this is what makes you miserable, it's how you think. And reach the point of non-attachment, and you reach the point of enlightenment. Attachment keeps us bound. So it's very important that we look at these great teachers. Jesus is specifically, because he was the last greatest. He came in with a 100% pure consciousness, which had never happened on the planet before. And he was the great way shower for the Piscean age. And so he was really showing us what it is to be at that level of consciousness where we're one with the Father, one with the God energy. But he was teaching us how to get there. And he was also showing us what we're going to come against. We're going to come against the forces that don't want to let go, that don't want anybody else to let go, want to keep everything status quo, want to kill the people that are showing a different way because it's a threat, want to keep living off of the light of the children of God. And that was his life. You know, he was the example. And he laid down his life for us to see what we were going to come up against. Now, I think that as we move into this new age, we are understanding some different tools and different ways of doing things, and maybe don't have to go through all of the difficulties that he went through, because things are moving up the scale of consciousness, and now we have some different tools to use. But still yet, we do have to face the forces that don't want us to do this and want to keep us down. And they're strong, and they're smarter. You know, the children of God, we tend to think everything is going to be wonderful and fine, and we trust.
Yeah, because God's going to take care of us. Well, God helps those that help themselves, folks.
That's right.
And He can send us signals about He can't do the work. He can't get His hands greasy. He can't change that tire, you know. He has limitations too, and that's probably why He created us, other than being bored shitless, you know.
Well, you know, God doesn't have limitations, but God is in us, and we are in this physical body having a physical experience. So we have to, I was just talking about this with a friend, we have to do what we have to do what we're supposed to do, and then get out of the way and let God do the rest. But because God is in us, God uses us, and things have to be done in the physical, and they have to be started in the physical, and then get out of the way and let God take over. And that's part of what surrender is about. You know, we surrender to God, we do what we know to do, we do the best we can, and then we surrender it up and let God do the rest. And that alone can produce miracles. But we have to be willing to give up control. We have to do the action, then give up control, and let God take it from there.
I think one of the chief faults that we have is trying to micromanage everything here. I mean, there is a place, there's a cutoff place, I think, here that where we turn it over to God. We let it go. You know, it's
yeah. You know, the big example of this. Remember what in the Bible story when Abraham was told to sacrifice his son?
Yes.
And he built the altar, and you know, he put his son on the altar, and he was ready to do it. I mean, what a test of faith is that? And what a test of surrender is that? That he was so connected with God that he said, okay, I don't know why God would have me do this. It's not making sense to me, but I don't know God's mind. Only God knows God's mind. But if this is what I'm supposed to do, I have faith that this is the right thing, this is what I need to do. And that was really the biggest example of surrender I know about. And of course God wouldn't let him sacrifice his son. But God does have the right to test us. And he was saying, Abraham, how much do you trust me? Do you trust to put your son on the altar and raise the axe or the knife? And Abraham trusted that much. So Abraham was called the friend of God, because he knew that whatever God told him to do, there was reason. He may not understand it, but God understood it. And so, of course, the son was not sacrificed. So we're asked to do, I don't know about, well, yes, I know you've gone through things like this too, where you go like, this is what I have to do. I don't know what's going to happen to me if I do this, but I'm very aware that this is my mission and this is what I have to do.
That's been a constant throughout my life, and I have had God intervene in instances like coming up to a green light in a blind curve and not being able to see the other street, and having somebody run the light after I locked up the brakes. They passed 3 feet in front of me. My cousin was sitting beside me. They would have killed him. And he said, how did you know? I said, I don't know. I got no idea. Somebody just told me to stop on a green light, to lock it up on a green light.
Yep. Yep. So God is always there, always talking to us, always with us. And as long as we are willing to be in the waves of God, quantum physics talks about waves and particles. When we're in the wave, we're in that God energy. We're in that synchronicity. We're listening. And when we get a message, whether it's through feeling or however we get it, we respond to it. When we try to control it ourselves and micromanage it ourselves, that's when we've broken out of that wave and we've taken the ego as the controller. And the ego, of course, always likes to think it knows best. But then we're not in that synchronicity, and that's when we struggle. What I have learned through working in the quantum field is that when you're on that wave, there's really no struggle involved. Jesus didn't struggle to walk on the water. Jesus didn't struggle to turn the water into wine. It was easy for him. All he had to do was let the Father know what he needed at that time.
Now, one of the things, let me stop you for just a second, because,
Sure.
you know, David is a friend of mine.
Me too.
And you know, I do this little ritual of spinning my coffee every morning. You know, 10 or 15 seconds. I mean, it doesn't hurt anything, and it actually makes me feel good. And I see a lot of comparisons to sitting down at a table and putting your hands together and praying over your food. Lord, bless this food. This is, and what David is doing, and you can see that something's happening when you do it with the Coca-Cola. All the fizz goes out of it.
Yep. When I do that, I can taste the difference in water. I can feel the energy going through my hands, and I know it's doing something. And I don't need to know exactly what. I mean, and David explains that, and I totally believe what he's saying. But I can experience it. So I know that there's truth, and I know that it's doing something, and I know that it's an improvement.
Yes,
so,
something is happening there, and folks, you can get the same kind of feeling and the same kind of results by praying, by simply concentrating on what you want, putting it out into the ether. And thoughts have powers, and they aren't limited, because we're all connected electromagnetically.
Right.
The positive thoughts affect the people around you, and the only ones that aren't, you know, are the, you know, it's the ones out there calling me a Nazi, calling me, well, you know, he backed out he was in the militia, he did this, he rebelled against us, he didn't follow the Bible. The Bible says be a good slave, don't rebel against your masters. Nah, I think they slipped that one in. Oh, yeah.
You know, Dr. Emoto, the gentleman from Japan that froze water crystals, there's a lot of research out now where the water crystals, in pure water, it forms these beautiful, beautiful water crystals. And in polluted water, it can't form the crystals. And he took water and talked to it and played music to it, and certain music was so detrimental to the water it could not form crystals. Certain words were so detrimental to the water. Water has memory. And certain words were so negative that the water couldn't form crystals. And those words were negative words. Now we are at least 80% water. So when we think negative thoughts, that is having an effect at a very, very cellular level on the water that makes up 80% of our body. But if we speak words of love and gratefulness and thankfulness and gratitude and compassion and all those wonderful things, then we're actually affecting the water in our body in a very, very good way. So there's proof about the energy of thought. It's very interesting work. He has a lot up on YouTube. He's written books. He's on Facebook. And this is like, you can't refute this. He's done so much research. So there's no way that we can rationalize negative thinking. There's just no way. It's a dark energy. It affects us, and it affects us adversely.
You know, Jake, my pastor, Dr. Jake Wade, he talks about, links on his website, links on Timothy Bible College, to the electromagnetic, to the renaissance, the resonance. The resonance, you know, pretty close to Renaissance, man. If we get the right resonance, we can raise our level, raise our comfort level, and be a little happier with each other. And it's easy to slip into the negative. I was into the negative for years after the accident. It was very, very hard for me to break out, and you know, it's still difficult when people that you know, think you think they care about you, but they get Jake calls them demons. You know, they get inside you and they make you see the negative in everything.
Well, it's easier to go downhill than it is uphill. It's easy to fall into that negative pattern. And when you're around people that carry those patterns and those electromagnetic fields, if you're not aware of what's going on, those energies will actually reach out and push and pull you, and it is difficult to stand your ground. So it's always a good thing to be around like-minded people, to have ways of prayer or meditation or environments you can get around that are uplifting, that bring you back into that core of God inside of us. You know, those are very valuable things to have in your life, because we need to put more emphasis on that. And there's so much negativity in the world. I mean, it's just, it's all over the place. It's in the media, it's in music, it's wars and greed and all the things that you talk about that are going on, that are trying to control us and hook into us. So we have to be very aware and do the things on an individual, personal level that keep us in the light. Very important.
And we are trying to do that, folks, here in Austin, in Alex Jones territory. You know, I'm giving you the rational response. Alex does pretty good work, and I'm not faulting him. He does, he gets you 90% of the truth. He avoids 10% out of self-survival. You know, he wants to survive. He wants to make it. Maybe he's a better businessman than I am. But we have a couple of things that you can do in the Austin area. One is the Truth Seekers meetings on Friday night, and I've got to get. I'll get that and have that up when I have MeSah's, when this show's episode is put up on my website. I'll have the location of that. And it's just a little ways away from Congress, one street away from Congress, off of William Cannon, and I'll get that up. And we also have the Way Church, and we got a map to you. The Way Church is the church in the wilderness, and it's really a Bible study with Dr. Jake Wade, and I think he would very much approve of the show today at MeSah.
I hope so.
And this is why I have you on, because this is a positive message. And the only people that don't want to listen to a positive message are the people that are being ruled by the dark side, the people that are allowing their anger and their emotions to interfere with their good judgment, I would say.
And conditioning, and the people that have been so conditioning. And you know, it's amazing to me that there's so many people that are afraid of change, and that they would stay in the negative rather than move out of that, because change can be scary. And so a lot of people get trapped into those kinds of energies just because they don't really know what else is there. So they become comfortable in the negative. And that's unfortunate, because the light, you know, there's really and truly, the light is never ending, and it's what everything is created out of, and it can only get better. When you follow the light, it's only going to get better. It can't get worse. But if you follow the dark, it can definitely get worse, and it will.
And you know, there have been these pogroms that have happened. I mean, Christians were killed by the millions in Russia. They're still being killed in communist China. And folks, the show we did yesterday with David, we pointed out that every plank on the Communist Manifesto has been set up here under the color of law.
Yep.
And the concentration camps and the detention centers and the coffins are all here. Just ask Alex Jones. He'll tell you about it. He'll try to blame it on Nazis instead of the Jews. But the Jews control the Nazis. The Jews work for the Nazis. One of them was even Hitler's chauffeur. So, the stuff that you're getting on TV and stuff that you're getting on the Jewish-controlled media does not give you an accurate thing. It's just when these people are the employees and the controllers behind the New World Order, when it was pledged to them. Matter of fact, the whole New World Order thing was pledged to the Jews in 1947, I believe.
I think one thing that's interesting is there's more people coming out talking about this teleportation and time travel stuff, which has been used for not good purposes. And I think it's interesting that more people now, including Laura Eisenhower, the great-great-granddaughter of Ike, that are talking about what's really going on. And I think that is a very good sign, because those things have been kept so secret, and they're funded by our money, and it's been so detrimental to so many people, and people aren't even aware of it. And since I've been studying this, I've actually come across a couple of people that have been nabbed by this teleportation technique stuff, and they have terrible problems. And thank God some people now are coming out and talking about it, because this is one of those things that is so unbelievable to the average person, would not want to believe that this can even happen. It's been so secret, and it's been so covered up. And the more this kind of thing comes out, and the more we can become aware of what's really going on, and what these dark forces are really doing, the more we can protect ourselves, and the more we can protect the planet, and the more we can do to counteract these negative vibrations by raising our vibrations. The only thing that's going to change it is by each individual being willing to raise their own vibratory rate. Because if we don't do that, and if there are not enough individuals to do that, then everything is going to go down instead of coming up. So we have to take responsibility for our own frequencies and work to improve that, which will improve our own life, but it will also improve what's going on the planetary body.
All right, now listen, the last show we did, we talked about people just disappearing, right, with people around them and everything, just disappearing. That could be what you're talking about, the teleportation. Beam me up, Scotty. They've just been dematerialized and sent to work on the moon or something.
Yeah, I think so. It's the only explanation that I know of that makes sense, that could account for these disappearances, where a person is standing there one minute, the next minute you look and they're gone. There's no evidence of them ever being there.
Okay, what we're talking about here, folks, is very advanced technology. Actually, very old advanced technology that somebody else wants to, a lot of people out there want to ascribe it to illegal aliens from space. No, there are two races of people here. There are two classes of people on this planet. One with space travel, one with this kind of technology, and the rest of you peons don't have it and aren't even allowed to know about it. The reason the flying saucers are so top years. And the Mayans tapped into it. The Mayans were aware of it. The Mayans were the descendants of the people that constructed those pyramids, and they did it with UFOs and some monatomic gold and teleportation and levitation. And of course, if you can, if gravity, we can attach to gravity from another star system, we could be there very, very quickly, couldn't we?
Well, and if there's a law of gravity, there's another law that is the reverse of that law. So just because the majority of people don't know what that law is doesn't mean it doesn't exist. But you know, this teleportation thing, the extraterrestrials have had that. I mean, they have had that technology forever, and they do use that also. So, and you know, the technology, when you hear these people talk that have been involved in that kind of experience, they talk about the aliens that are helping our scientists and our government develop these things. So whether these things have been here before or not, they're coming back, and there are aliens involved in it. And so it's here. You know, we need to be aware that that technology is here and it does function. And even though it feels like it's science fiction, it's not. And that should give us, I think, more incentive to work with our own electromagnetic field to get beyond. You know, if someone is sending me bad energy, but my electromagnetic field is vibrating at a rate that is above what the bad energy is, that bad energy can't even find me. I'm invisible to it. It won't find me. It won't find a home in me. It'll go right underneath me. So our best protection is to continue to raise our vibrations so that these things that are being utilized, these negative forces, can't even find us. They won't even see us. And that's the best protection we have.
Well, you know, in studying magic, you know, I learned that it's that same, exactly what you're talking about, will turn any evil spell right back around and send it right back to the person that tried to put it on you.
That's right.
And you know, that's why really the trolls on the chat rooms don't really bother me at all. You know, these are just negative people, and maybe they got a calling. Maybe they just got a calling. Maybe that's just the way it always has been and always will be. You're always going to have those that are envious of people that are happy, envious of people that are successful, envious, and you know, I don't feel that. I really don't. I mean, to me, you know, it doesn't matter how poor you are, what color you are, what religion you are. It's what your actions are, what you do. Are you doing something to help? Or are you doing something to hinder? You know?
Yes, it's what's in your heart.
MeSah, I appreciate you being. We're out of time. Folks, you can support this show by going to Free American, and there's links for MeSah's site there. You can pass this show around. You can tell people about the Free American, and you can make a donation. You can order a book. We've got films and books, and the books that I wrote 45 years ago will be more as soon as I finish editing them this year. They will be more advanced, and I'm counting on the fact that the world ain't going to end on the 21st. I'd like to see the banksters' world end, and that could happen. That could happen. Look what they did in Iceland, folks. They give you the appearance, and they spend a lot of money to convince you in movies and television that they are superior, their way is best, and you just need to take this pill and relax, because you getting the truth is always, you know, a lot stressful. It's stressful to you, so take this Valium and chill out. There's only a 2,000% markup on that, folks, so it's really a bargain for you. MeSah, thank you again for being with me.
Oh, you're very welcome, Clayton. Thank you for having me.
All right, dear. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Here, I got a song for you on that. Along that line.